Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What's Next with We. Uh, these kind of podcasts wherein we invite experts across different industries, understand that industry more in depth, and figure out what's next. Today we have a really special guest, Mr. Lijo Joseph. By the way, this is a part of a new series that I'm starting called the Design Series. I'm super excited to have Lijo Joseph, who is presently the Chief Designer at Air India. Welcome, Lijo.
Hey, hi, hello, namaste. Thank you,
Welcome,
Vishal.
Lijo.
Thank you for hosting me. I'm looking forward. It's quite exciting.
Thank
That,
you, Lijo. Absolute pleasure to have you. I am the host, as always, Vishal Ramaswamy, the V in What's Next with V. Jumping on, Lijo, I mean, I'm sure the listeners would love to know your unique story, post graduation to becoming chief designer at Air India. Over to you, Lijo.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you once again. So, my story as a designer is not like a typical designer's journey because I actually didn't pick design as my career after my 12th or so. It happened to me through my design guru. His name is Father Gigi Jacob. So it is 23 years back after when I was doing my diploma. So it was a diploma in graphic arts communication technology. Then, like I mentioned, it's 23 years back. So I haven't heard about anything like user experience design, user research, visual design, setting up design system, and all those things. It's not at all there in the picture at that time. So I was in kind of situation where I need a job very immediately. So after first year of first year of my diploma, the second year was a specialization. So either you have to pick design or printing technology. So I selected printing technology as my second year specialization to become a printer, offset or a gravure printer. So I studied that as well. Doing the printing and all that. So recently, when I watched the movie Percy, so I can relate with the scenes in that. Check the paper and say the thickness of the paper. I used to do that when I was
Wow.
in design. So my guru, he told me that don't go for printing. And then I told him that I need a job very immediately. So I want to go for it. He said, no, no, no. Design is your area. You go for design. I will take care of the rest. Then that how I came into design. But from that second till now, and I think till my last day or last second, I will definitely love design because I feel like it's a divine connect between design and me. I feel so because when you go to a church or a temple or a mosque, whether it's a small one or a crowded one or not so hygienic one, you will not have any problem with your Lord, right? Lord Almighty. You will always have that divine connect with Him, irrespective of the
True.
temple, church, or mosque where you are going to worship Him, right? So I feel like I have that kind of a divine connect with the design. I always be in love with the design. I had definitely I had problems with the projects I am doing, the organization, the people. Definitely, we all will have. It's a very
True.
natural thing in our career.
Exactly.
But even for a second, a fraction of second, never had a problem with my profession, that is design. So I started my graduation in Don Bosco. I am a Don Bosco product. So then after that, I joined the same institute as a faculty and graphic designer. And then I moved to Delhi, where I worked with a company called Aztec Solutions as a creative head, where I was working with the UN bodies like a UN Commission for Human Rights, and worked for Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, and the embassies and high commissions like US Embassy, British High Commission, French Embassy, and a lot of government bodies as well. And I was doing the annual reports for CA, Confederation of Indian Industry, for a couple of years there when I was there. As a designer, it gave me a different perception on same thing because you are working for different bodies. Different. Embassies of different countries. So you will always have a different perspective on that same thing. I mean, for example, the controversial human rights thing, right? You have different versions of the same topic from different areas. So as a
True.
designer, it's very important for all of us to have a different perceptions, different perspective, and accept that as well. So that is very important. So I learned a lot of from there. And then one of my friend, he's like a younger brother to me. His name is Amal Bharathan. He was working with a company called Micro Objects, then the pioneers in mobile application development and design in India. So it is back in 2009. So he told me that once I came for the vacation, he told me that he's working with a company called Micro Objects, and they're working for design for mobile applications. He told me about iPhone. That time iPhone just launched. So it was really fascinating, and there was an opportunity. So I moved to Kochi. Then I started my career in the space of digital, if you can say it like that. So it was a journey from 300 dpi to 72 dpi. So a huge shift in terms of the platforms you're working or designing for, and the view, everything. It's totally different but the basic design principles are same in whatever we are doing in design. And after 1.5 years, most of my colleagues from engineering team moved to TCS. So they told me that we have an opportunity in TCS. They're building a new team for mobility. Then I came to TCS. So that is actually a big turning point in my life. I joined TCS as one of the very early designer, especially in Kochi. So I was the second one. There was a guy, his name is Lijo. He is from Manipur. He actually was an engineer, then moved to design because of his passion. So then I joined there. I built a team called Design Lab. Um, and then I moved to, we got a lot of awards for the applications we have designed in terms of user experience. I was also learning from my colleagues, friends. I mean, still I'm doing the same thing. In between, I completed my graduation in journalism, mass communication as well. I mean, I wanted to do something from academic perspective, so I did that as well. Then I worked for a retail domain in TCS. I built a team there, and then became the head of design India and APAC for TCS Interactive. And in last year, I moved to Air India. The biggest blessing happened to me from a career perspective, that I was at the right time with the right people with the right opportunity. So that's the best thing happened in my career.
No, great, Lijo. I think quite a fascinating story thus far. I think, as you mentioned, right? It's like a divine intervention for you that you have a connect with design to that level. And I think you've been early on, as you said, you worked on the iPhone mobile apps to setting up multiple teams at TCS, designed to working now as chief designer at Air India. So I think a lot of interesting opportunities there. We'll obviously dig deeper a bit more. But Lijo, I think apart from that, apart from your career, you have a passion for producing and directing Malayalam films. So it would be good to hear a couple of minutes to hear that part of your life.
Yeah, so actually, it's not direction. I'm into production. So with friends, we have a small production house which is called First Print Studios. And yeah, so when I was in TCS, I met a wonderful girl called Nitya. He's my best friend. She is my best friend. Her husband was into short films, documentaries, and all. He's is a very passionate guy, and she introduced me to him. And he used to share his dreams on movies, and also I became part of his journey. I was also fascinated by movies from my childhood. I used to watch movies a lot from my childhood. Very old movies I started watching, and he took me to the film festivals and all. So the film festivals, it helped me as a designer as well, because you are watching movies from Mongolia. You are watching movies from Norway. You are watching movies from Uzbekistan. So you don't know those people and the culture. You only know these people and culture and the socio-economic, political background of the country through movies, right? It gives
True.
you different perspectives and different outlook on things. So as a designer, it helped me a lot. And then we thought that we used to do short films for the competitions, like 48 hours, 50 hours, and we won a lot of awards for the best short films and all in those time. Then we geared up for higher ambitions, like let's do a feature film. So we started going in that direction. So we approached a lot of people, well-known producers, actors, and also we are very new to it, especially my friend who is a director. He is very new to this field. So nobody really accepted his stories. And then we decided, okay, let's produce ourselves. And we got a one co-producer, and after Puja, he backed out. Then it was our friends. We decided that okay, we will pull in money and do our movie, and we did it. And we thought that we will get selection for IFFK, that is International Film Festival of Kerala, which is a very well-known film festival in the film fraternity. And nothing had happened. We didn't get selection there. And it was like people started making fun of us that crazy guys put all the money on movies. It's kind of a gambling, and what are you guys are going to do and all. And when the next year, when the Kerala State Film Award announced, we got 4 awards for the movie, including the
Wow.
best film.
Wow.
And that gave us a big push that we can definitely go for our dreams to chase our passion apart from our day-to-day work and as a career. Then later we produced, now we produced 4 movies. For the first movie, we got the state award, and second movie, it was a very experimental movie. We shot the entire movie on a GoPro camera, which
Wow.
was still life genre. Basically, how the technology, people are using the technology for different, kind of a purpose. How the purpose changes of a technology with people. Those who are handling that. And we got a national award for that movie.
Wow.
We produced two more commercial movies, and recently we completed shoot for the first Malayalam web series on Disney Plus Hotstar, and we are going to start our next web series for Sony Live next month.
Wow, Lijo.
This month itself, April, yeah, this month itself.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
that is the overall journey as a film producer, if we can say like that, because film producer, when you say film producer, it's like Dharma Productions and Yash Raj kind of thing.
And I
It's not
think,
like it's more than money. We are driving it on based on our passion,
no, no,
and we are
that's
chasing our dream.
that's excellent, Lijo. I think listeners out there, film enthusiasts, I think more importantly, if you have a passion apart from your day-to-day job, I think you should definitely look into it. And I think Lijo took it as a passion, took it up as a challenge apart from his job, and created multiple movies which have won state and national awards. So nothing is impossible. I think if you have the passion and courage to go and do it, I think you should do it. I think
Yeah,
a lot of opportunities, Liju. I think as you did, as you mentioned, you have done movies on a GoPro camera. I've heard now people doing movies on an iPhone. Entire movie done
yeah,
on iPhone 14. So I think now most of your whatever your passions that you have technology which has been democratized and pretty affordable, and you can create your
yeah.
own kind of genre just by having the passion and courage to go for it.
Yeah,
So
one more thing around that is it's important to have good people around you as well
true,
to
very true.
support your passion, be with you to chase your dream and all. So we are very
Exactly.
much blessed in terms, both in my professional career as well as in our first film studios. We have a great bunch of people with us, those who are more than 100% dedicated
Yeah,
and committed
absolutely.
to what they are
Now
doing.
you definitely need to have people and the ecosystem supporting you in your journey. Without that, it's difficult to run solo, right? So, good point, Rijo. Moving on, I think I've always been passionate about design. I can kind of identify good design to bad design, and that's about it. Lijo, would like to hear your take, your views on design as a career option.
Okay.
I think I feel still feel in India people are still chasing your engineering and your medicine and those more sought after career options. But I think recently, past few years, you're seeing a lot of design element coming into buildings, roads, cars, different products, and obviously your digital designs from your website apps to. So would like to get your thoughts on design as a career option.
So great. Like I mentioned, when I started my career, it was like either a DTP center. You will get to work at a DTP center, or I mean, we are. I mean, that time IT companies were there, but we never. I never thought that I will be part of an IT company as a designer. Right? And we'll get a lot of opportunity to travel across the globe as a designer. So that when I started my career, I was not at all, I mean, in a position to think in that level. But by God's grace, I mean, came into this career, design as a career, my career. But now the situation, like you mentioned, we have a lot of great design institutes, colleges there, and people are very well aware about the opportunities we have in design as a career. And not only the IT companies or the startups, so government bodies or government itself recognizing the value of design. How can we involve creative people in decision making, or whenever they are coming up with some infrastructure plan, they are giving more value to design. So to understand the design as a career, we need to understand what is design. It's whenever we say design, for a common man, it's all about making something beautiful, right? Colorful
True,
thing. So
true,
design is not bad. It's part of design when you say the overall spectrum of design. So design is basically how to solve a problem, right? So it's a problem solving thing. So you have to approach design in that way. It's not about making a poster beautiful, making a brochure beautiful, or making your app beautiful. It's not about that. It's about how you are solving a human problem through design, through, I mean, the channels maybe, or the touch points would be different. For example, it would be a mobile phone, it would be a website, it could be a product, it could be a service, it could be anything else. For example, if you are using a door, right, to get into an auditorium or get into your home, it's designed in that way, right? We need to understand in that
true,
line. And everything around us, if it's a bottle, if it's a laptop, if it's a I mean, printing machine, anything around us designed in a way to solve a problem, right? So if you simply took a water bottle, why there is a water bottle? To carry or contain water, right? And in and around, you can apply a lot of design principles there. How you can easily hold a water bottle, how can quickly you open the water bottle. If you are using it in a car while driving, if you want to drink water, you will not have enough time to open the cap and all. So it will be like tuck and drink it, right? So it's about how you are solving a problem than beautifying things. So first we need to understand that. And from a career perspective, like you mentioned, in India, especially in India, we have a socio-cultural thing, right? Either you have to be an engineer or a doctor to get that kind of a social status in our life, day-to-day life.
true,
It's a reality. We don't need to cover up this kind of thing, right? But I can assure all the youngsters, I mean, design is such a great career that you can change the people's life forever, right? With a great solution. So that we are doing as a designer. It's not about you are getting some remuneration for what you are doing. You are completing a design and delivering it. It's not like that. You are changing someone's life. And the most important thing is that the problems you are trying to solve as a designer is not your problem. You are trying to solve someone else's problem, right? It's always like that. Even if it's a small brochure, people are thinking that it's a brochure. How can am I going to change someone's life, right? So from a design perspective, you just think you are. getting a lot of brochure, pamphlet, notice, and everything day-to-day life. You are getting a lot of notice inside your newspaper. You are not at all even giving an attention to that. You are simply throwing it away, and you are treating it as a nuisance while you are reading your newspaper. But from a designer perspective, if we can make it something very different, something very attractive, it will definitely solve the purpose, and people will definitely look at it. Right? It may be about an opportunity. It may be about new treatment. It may be about a new opportunity to get a loans for entrepreneurship. So a lot of things. For example, the designs we are doing from a designer perspective, it has to be purpose driven than principles or the theory and all those things. So these things can be part of it, but it's important to have a purpose-driven approach in design. So from a career perspective, we have a huge opportunities, especially in India, right? So if you look at the 5,000 years of history of India, you can see a lot of great creative people. When I say creative people, it's not about someone drawing, someone doing the sketching and all those things. I mean, if we have 1.7 billion people in the country or 1.4 billion people in the country, everyone is creative in one way or the other,
True.
right? So India is known for its cultural, traditional art, everything, right? Performance art, everything, and we are very much into science, very much into art, very much into performance, very much into everything. I mean, a human can do, right? And we have a lot of people. We are having the highest number of young population in the world, right?
True.
All of them are creative in one way or the other. And design as a career is now getting traction from IT companies to startups to educational institutions to government, everywhere, right? It's a huge opportunities over there. And if you look at the Hollywood movies, every Hollywood movies, whether it's Top Gun, Avengers, anything. So visual effects, a major part of visual effects are happening from India. It's
True.
from it may be from Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, right? So we have great opportunities, and our kids are not aware about that they have an opportunity in design. It's not only about user experience design. We have product design, we have visual effects, animation, gaming. Gaming is a great opportunity, right? And and design. One important thing is that you are enjoying what you are doing for your salary, right?
True.
That is very important. It's a great opportunity if someone who is very much fascinated by the games and all. So if you are doing it, I mean, you love to do some or create some games, and you are getting pay for it. I mean, a good amount. So that's the best thing can happen in your career,
Exactly.
right? You are doing something and which you love, and you are getting a good amount of money as a salary and remuneration, and you are enjoying what you are doing. That is the best opportunity. So we have a lot of great institutes, and even if you are not able to get into an institute, you can simply learn everything online. And design is all about doing things and learning.
True.
It's not about learning all the theories in design, and you can't say that I am a designer, right? Unless and until you are doing it. So a lot of online courses are there, or you can simply learn softwares and do it from a visual design perspective. You can learn user research. You can learn interaction design from very minimal cost or free of cost as well. A lot of mentoring platforms are there. A lot of talk shows are there. You can simply attend it and do it and learn it. So I did my design learning in that way, user experience design, and definitely my friends, colleagues, peers helped me a lot. But it's a great career opportunity, I must say. And you are hearing that a lot of jobs will be eliminated in future, but you can't never eliminate your brain and the creativity part, right? So creativity
Awesome.
never can be eliminated with any kind of automation. So it's a great
Thanks, Lijo.
opportunity for
Thanks for reassuring that, because with AI and all your chat GPTs of the world, good to hear that design will always be there. And I second your thoughts there. I think some very interesting points there that Lijo mentioned. I think you had mentioned that I never thought of design as solving people's problem. good that you highlighted that it's not just the beauty of could be a pamphlet, poster, or a website. I think solving people's problems through the principles that you mentioned, I think that's important. I think another point you mentioned that India has everything uh, by itself, from your ancient history to arts to movies. So you have enough content, data, and the talent. As you mentioned, that 1.4 billion, everybody is an artist by themselves. So I think India has enough talent to create for India and for the world. So I think that's a very interesting point. I think you touched upon various career opportunities across, right? From IT companies to movies, gaming, government, and the like. So I think the list is endless. Uh, Interesting points, Lijo. I think by this, I'm sure listeners would get more motivated to get into this line more confidently. I think folks like you should keep spreading the word that design is a great career for you, because as you mentioned, you can mix your passion, your ambition with your work. It no more becomes work, and you get well paid. You get these well paid opportunities as well. So I think it's a great career option, folks. So I think you should definitely look at it. Riju, jumping on to my next question, uh, would love to hear your life as a chief designer at Air India. I'm a big fan of Air India. That's why I reached out to you. Um, I think it was few, I mean, decades back, it was called Maharajas of the Skies. And obviously, on and off Air India, obviously, people keep talking about Air India, that it could be the next big thing. And now with the acquisition, everybody's looking at Air India in a different lens. Everybody in India would wish that Air India becomes the Maharaj of the skies again, becomes a global leader. India being the global hub for aviation, largest Boeing Airbus orders. So there's a lot of buzz about Air India in the space, and it's been, I think, a year since you have been acquired. Would love to get to know about your experience as a designer, and if possible, share some vision or plans for the future for Air India.
Yeah, so it's been a great journey. I've been with Air India for the last 6 months now, and so far it's so great. I'm thankful that I got this opportunity to be at Air India at its homecoming. So it's also very important. Like you mentioned, India has great heritage, great values, and history in all areas, like in aviation as well. We had Air India. It was Tata Airlines, and this is our 90th year of Air India. It started in 1932, and it's a 90th year. After 10 years, we will be, hitting the century as an airline. So it has a glorious past. So Air India considered as one of the luxurious airlines in the world. It
True.
used to call us a palace in the sky. So that kind of past we had as an airline. And from a design, everybody knows Salvador Dali. He did design a ashtray for us, Air India. So that kind of heritage or that kind of history we have as an airline. And a year back, it was a homecoming for Air India. You must have seen the emotional tweet from Ratan Tata.
True.
Welcome back home. So working at Air India, one key differentiator from my personal level. This is my personal opinion. This is what you are doing it for your nation. So that is very important. So the airline, which represents 1.4 billion people and a great country,
Absolutely.
you are with a great responsibility, right? It's not like you are simply doing some designs for some companies or some clients. So you are doing, and whatever you are doing represents the nation. So that is very important, and people will expect the best what we can do as a nation. That people are expecting from Air India. So you can see a lot of tweets and a lot of buzz on each and everything on Air India, right?
True.
It's not like any other airlines in the world. People are not like people. I don't see that kind of vibe or that kind of buzz on social media about any other airlines rather than Air
True, very
India.
true.
It's not only Air India, right?
True.
Because people they love the airline, right? And they feel like it's our own airline. So we have that passion, and you can see everything changes over a period of time, and whatever we are doing, I mean, you can see the impact as well. So that is one thing. And like our chairman mentioned, the mission is to make Air India technologically the most advanced airline in the world. So that is our mission. That is the purpose. And our users can't really experience the technology unless and until they have a channel. It could be a digital channel. It could be a service. So I am into providing the user experience through digital channels for Air India. You can see, yeah, I mean, I can't reveal anything as of now, but I can promise you, and this is a promise to our organization as well. We all have that promise in our mind that we will definitely be there to meet the expectation of our people, our country, and we will definitely make our nation and the airline proud about what we are doing for the airline. And I mean, as I mentioned, we are completely aligned with our chairman's vision, and we will definitely do it. And I mean, you can see a lot of changes in near future, um,
Yeah.
step by step. But definitely, we all can proud of our one and only Air India and one and only Maharaj.
Great, Lijo. I mean, I have goosebumps running all over. It's so great to hear your passion, vision for the company. I think it's sense of pride, right? Working for a global airlines from India and obviously creating that global airlines from India and representing India in a totally different light because having a global brand from India, it's a great soft power across, right? People don't see it that way. But I think now having that vision to create the most technology advanced airlines, creating great digital experience for our users, and creating a truly global brand from India. I think hats off to you. All my best wishes to you and the team to create the world class airline from here. It's great to hear your experience so far as a chief designer at Air India. And apparently, recently, I believe that you've launched your new website. I think the older version was a bit of old design language, and the present one looks much more cleaner, modern, sleek. And I think you're bringing out the new design language. Would be great to hear the initial experience of customers, how they're finding the new website.
Yeah, so Vishal, first of all, it's just the beginning. We are in the beginning stage of the transformation of our digital channels, especially from a design perspective and technology perspective as well. We are revamping the entire experience from our digital channels, and the website is a kind of a face of any organization these days, right? I mean, people are visiting, especially for the airlines. They are visiting the websites, especially for the long haul flights. And the first response, first kind of response from our customers and our well wishers that it's very clean and refreshing. So that was our purpose as well, and make it more convenient for our users. So earlier it was not that responsive, especially on mobile devices. So we focused on those things, and there was a major upgradation and the technology part as well. We are using latest technologies for the website, and the design language, what we have focused, we should deliver something very refreshing, sleek, and very clean, and very easy to use for the customers. We This is actually a beginning of our new design languages, which will be coming up the following days. What would be our new branding language and everything. So this is just the beginning, but we are very happy that people are receiving it in a very positive way, and they are giving us suggestions whenever we are getting suggestions and recommendations and the feedback, both in terms of very constructive criticism. one thing we all feel like people are loving Air India so much. That's why they are taking time to give us
Exactly.
the feedback. And it's not just like throwing your comments on social media and all those. Many people are personally connecting us if there is a problem in using any of these channels. They are directly connecting us to give us the feedback. So that is a very, very positive sign that people are loving this brand and they all wanted to see it in a higher level. So that's why they are taking that much effort to give us the feedback and very constructive feedbacks. So we appreciate that, and I'm so grateful for those kind of gestures, showing their love, their positive attitude towards the brand. So that is very important for any brand. Yeah, it's a very positive sign, and we are in the making of a great experience to all our digital channels. And like I mentioned in the beginning, it's just the beginning.
Awesome, Riju. I mean, I'm also super excited. I had a chance to kind of play around on the website. Looks very clean, very easy to use. I think end of the day, customers want that, right? They don't want it to be super complicated. They're going there to kind of figure out their travel experience, want to book their tickets, make the payment easy, and they get their tickets in their hand in few clicks. So I feel, and another thing that you mentioned, Liju, is you're getting a lot of positive responses and obviously critical feedback from customers. As mentioned, I mean, people are connected with the brand, right? It's more of pride that they are connected to this brand. Everybody feels that it's their own brand because it's from India for the world.
Yeah.
So, Liju, on that note, great to hear this, and I think I'm sure the listeners out there, entire public, would be eagerly waiting for the new design language across your digital channels, right? Hopefully, people would keep giving you feedback, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of iterations coming along the way. But end of the day, I think your intentions are pretty clear. Make a very seamless, highly customer centric, seamless experience for customers. End of the day. Alijo, moving on to my kind of my last question, to my theme of my podcast is what's next? I think we touched upon multiple facets in this podcast, from obviously your career to talking about design as a career option to discussing about your role at Air India. I just want to get your thoughts on what's next in design. Obviously, you're more into the digital designs across mobile apps, website. Would good to hear your thoughts on how the next 5, 10 years would look like in your space.
Yeah, so from my personal experience, it's always, I mean, this is my personal opinion. So people are always threatened, threatened by the advancement of technology will eliminate a lot of jobs. Um, I I have a different perspective on that because the advancement happening in the technology or the technical area, which will definitely help us to refine ourselves, right? When we started the design, we haven't started with computer, right? We started with the paper, sketches, painting, and all that.
True,
In the history of design, it started like that. When computer came, a lot of people thought that okay, all the designers will get eliminated, or the all the creative people, those who are painting, drawing, sketching, and all those things. Engineers also, right? We used to draw with the big, pad and all, right? The engineers used to draw and all things. So when computer came, people thought that okay, this job will get eliminated by computer and all. But now they started using computer to do their job in a very easy way, right? The
true,
same way, whatever advancement happening in AI, now people are talking a lot about ChatGPT. So it's important for a designer to adapt all these kind of technology or the latest things are happening in technology field. How can we make sure that this will refine my thought process? This will help my thought process to think beyond what I am doing right now. Because all these things are giving us great opportunity to think beyond whatever we are doing right now. And at the same time, it will give an opportunity to challenge ourselves. Okay, this is what I am doing right now. Why can't I do something beyond what I am doing right now? Right. So we may have a lot of concepts which was not possible 10 years back or so. But with latest technology, it may be possible right now, right? Now we have a lot of opportunity to gather as much as data possible.
True.
We have a lot of opportunity with a lot of digital channels where we can provide them great experience in a very minimal cost, right? People are talking about AR, VR, and XR, AI, ChatGPT, a lot of things. So once we will, I mean, if you look at the history of people interacting with the digital experience, right? They started using feature phones, like with a very limited features. Like you can simply store some contacts, or you can simply dial in, and you can even add speed dials from one number, and few very limited, I mean, number of games like a snake, and people still playing that in new
Yeah.
thing as well. But from there, the phones we have right now, you can do everything on a phone, right?
True.
And the that um, the period of evolving, we our generation had seen that the changes are happening from feature phone to digital phones to touch phone, and all the now every phone has every features in it, right?
Exactly.
You get everything on a phone. So from the designer who did designs for the feature phone, he might be doing the same. The same designer might be doing design for the latest phone as well. How does it happen? Because you have to be flexible, and you have to have an adaptability, right? What comes, and how can you take the good part of it and leverage those things for providing a great experience, right? That is very important. And we always heard a lot of stories about a designer and developer like this, right? So always in fight. So I mean, the guy who brought me to TCS, Manish Das, he's a great engineer. So from my perspective, designers and developers should have this kind of a relationship, because I mean, then only you can always go to an engineer and check whether guy yeah, possible hai ya nahi,
Correct.
right? Or he can also suggest it. There is a new update came up, so we can do this right now. So that kind of it's complementary. It's not like I mean, fighting each other, right?
Yeah, very true.
It's a compliment. So if you are close to technology, it will definitely help you to grow in your career. And for that, you have to be flexible, and you have to be adaptable as well. Whenever something new comes, don't feel it like it's a threat for me, or it's a threat for my career. Take it like, oh, okay, I got a great opportunity that I can think in a different way and come up with new things which people can't think right now, but I can think, and I can leverage the technology, and I can come up with a new experience. And whatever happens in technology, in design, in the available digital products, maybe in future we may have different products in hand as well, right? But two things we need to remember as a designer. First, we are doing designs for human, right? So human first approach must be there. So many times you have to deviate from your principles you have learned, or the theories you have learned. Feel free to do that. I always encourage to do the experiments and believe in yourself and believe in intuitions, right? And some people are blindly following the guidelines. Okay, that
Yes,
will never help us to come up with something different, something new, right? You must know the guidelines just to understand I shouldn't go beyond a point which will make the experience very tough for others, right? Or which will not be a desirable one. But you should know the guidelines to go beyond that guidelines and come up with a great experience. If you look at Apple, they have the most detailed GUI specs in place, right? If every designers blindly follow the specs, every app in App Store would look like same,
true.
right?
Very
If
true.
you don't think beyond whatever you are doing or whatever you are seeing right now, you will not create any differentiator. So put human as the center and a human first approach. And second thing is whatever you are doing, it has to be a purpose driven. And many
Great.
people are thinking like, okay, we will use this technology to solve this problem. It shouldn't be like that. We should identify a solution and take the appropriate technology to solve it.
Great.
And
Great points.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
good.
are always hearing that human centric design, right? And if you are, can you tell me what is the non-human centric design? Because it's not an option. There is no
Exactly.
choice.
Yeah.
Everything we do, it has to be
Has to
human
be.
centric. It's not an adjective that I am doing human centric design. You don't need to mention it at all. Whatever you are doing as a designer, it has to be human centric. It's not
True.
an
Very
option,
true.
not a choice.
True. These were some very interesting points. I think you mentioned that you should not be worried about technology. You should leverage technology for your job. And as you
So,
mentioned, I think earlier in the podcast, that design is such a creative element that technology can't replace. Technology can complement what you do. I think that's a very interesting point. Second, that you had mentioned that your engineering team, your design team, and maybe your product team as well, all should work in harmony,
yeah,
complementary to each other to create those the third point that you mentioned, the human centric product end of the day, a purpose driven human centric end of the day. As you like, you just asked me a question, can we look at a non-human? That it was like a bouncer to me. I've never thought about it that way. We should always think as human first, because we are all humans end of the day. Test to whatever product or service that you make should be used by humans end of the day. So
yeah.
interesting points there, Lijo. I think on that note, uh, thanks for taking out time on a Sunday. Very interesting points, very interesting perspectives that you brought onto the table. I hope listeners out there find this really useful. Uh, Lijo, I will be sharing this across social media channels. I'm sure you'll get folks reaching out to you. Once again, Lijo, thanks for taking out time on a Sunday. It was absolute pleasure having you.